Well, friends, it's just about time to wake up. Before we do, I want to remind you to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, whichever way they are, um, so we can keep us on the air. So let's go. It's time to wake up. Hey, you all. It's time to wake up. You know, we've got two really interesting elections happening in Detroit. Let's put the U.S. Senate race off to the side. Let's put the presidential race off to the side and concentrate just on Detroit for a minute. First of all, there's a school board race, Detroit Public Schools Community Districts, DPSCD. There are 3 board members, citywide races that are running now. The other big thing we have is Proposal N. I like to call it Proposal N-word, and you'll hear more about that in a second. But here's my problem with those 2 races. Right now, you have dark money PACs are providing the majority of the campaign dollars for both the school board race and the Proposal N race. The school board race is interesting in that the school board race is in that because it gives us a view into next summer. Into next summer are the city council elections. Next to 2021 are the city council elections for at large and in districts. And if it actually is pulled off where the majority of the fundraising for a school board race is done through dark money PACs, which are funded by suburbanites, it means that same type of logic could be used for the city council races. Now, it'll be easy to pull off a citywide race using a dark money PAC because it's just so big, and you can use mass mailers, you can use television, all that's diffused. It's a lot harder when you get into what we call the defined polygon of a council district. Council districts by nature are smaller and then harder to run, are harder to actually blanket with stuff. You really do have to contact the voters. Today, we're going to talk with my good friend Violet, and she's a reporter for Deadline Detroit, which has broken this wide open. I think you'll find it very, very interesting. She's going to join us in a few seconds here. It's all about dark money today. And here she comes. And we're waiting on Violet. Violet, you're there.
Hi.
I can hear you, and your sound is perfect right away. For our viewers, can you just pronounce your name, please? Your
Violet.
last name. Yes.
Ikonomova.
Ikonomova. One more time.
Ikonomova.
Ikonomova. Where are you from?
Bulgaria.
Bulgaria. And you're here in Detroit.
Yeah, my parents are scientists and they got jobs at Wayne State.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, over your tenure, you work for Deadline Detroit, you write for them.
Mm-hmm.
Over your tenure at Deadline Detroit, you have broken some hell of a stories. You've done a lot of really great, solid journalism. Alan Lingle and company, you know, they struggle with it. They're not the big papers, but they've got solid journalism going on. You've written some amazing stories as of late. One of them had to do, you jumped back in on the demolition with the prohibition that was levied against demolition. They weren't supposed to demolish any houses because of the kids. It was affecting the kids. And you wrote that story. And
no, that was Catrice Stafford. That was Catrice Stafford
that wrote that.
Yep. Mm-hmm. She jumped back into the Free Press from the Associated Press because she had a fellowship to do a big investigative story over the course of a year, and that was her big project. So while she left for the AP, it wound up running at the Free Press, and that ran on Friday. But Deadline Detroit aggregates stuff, so we must have aggregated that story. And
yeah, that's why I thought it was you guys.
Oh, that would have been huge for me to get. No,
But you've broken another 2 stories.
Yeah.
You've actually dug deep into dark money PACs that are now controlling the 2 biggest elections in Detroit. They're funding the 2 biggest Detroit local elections this cycle.
Right.
I mean, there were PACs that played in the primary in the prosecutor's race. We're not going to forget that. But right now, you have the Detroit Public Schools Community District school board elections, which are being funded by dark money PACs, and you have Proposal N, which is being funded by at least 2 dark money PACs, as I count it. Can you let our viewers in on what's really going on here?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of speculation is that it's Duggan, and if it's not Duggan, it's perhaps Duggan telling the business community which way to go, because the business community, the regional chamber, they align with his vision. I mean, the regional chamber told me we're not actually investing in they said the school board race. I don't think I asked them directly about Prop N. I'm trying to remember. But at the very least, they're not getting involved in the school board race. And they said, but we support everything the mayor does. So that kind of says a lot right there. And just in terms of I think it's important because dark money is one thing, but it's important to quantify how much is being spent, because it's really the sum of the money that makes you realize somebody really wants something to go a certain way. And it was you and I who talked, where you kind of started adding up in your head, oh, okay, these mailers, postage on just mailing out to the 245,000 households or whatever it is that we have, is $100,000 right off the bat. You were saying that and other folks have said that the billboard buys are thousands per week. And just on Prop N alone, I mean,
the frequency of the streaming ads on Facebook.
Yes.
That frequency is hard to get. The television ads. Okay.
Right.
I mean, I think we're looking at least a $500,000 campaign here.
Right, for both of them, because they have TV ads. It's similar for both. So they have full page mailers for both with openings. And this is just one of the school board candidates, right? So they're doing this for 3 people. And then they've got TV buys for at least, I found TV, I don't have television, but I found TV buys for Iris Taylor, the school board president, who obviously goes way back with Duggan. They were both, he was the CEO of the Detroit Medical Center, and she was the leader of receiving. And anyway, we'll get into the other detail later. But so it's just quite a bit of money. And so you really have to ask, where is this money coming from? And we don't really know, other than at least on in the school board race, Misha Stalworth. I like that I have visual cues.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great. You saved me a little time.
Anyhow, so Misha, she's the youngest.
And she's a great person.
She's progressive. She pointed out, I'll say something, I'll give her a shout out in a little bit, but she pointed out a really progressive vote that she took. But at any rate, I mean, she was relatively forthright. She didn't say specifically where the money was coming from, but she said, well, look, we have ties to the business community. The DPS has done a whole bunch with the business community, leveraging business connections. You had the water, the drinking fountains, the tablets. There was one other big thing.
Did
that
the tablets ever make it there?
To the students?
Yeah.
I believe they did.
And the internet service actually made it there?
That's the thing. I'm not sure how it all wound up playing out, because, well, I don't want to speculate, but there are a lot of kids who are attending schools. And so you kind of wonder, I mean, last I read, there was some difficulty, parents were having difficulty, hooking stuff up. I had heard on a city council presentation from the district a few weeks back that they were still having issues with that. But yeah, as far as I understand, everyone got their actual hardware.
Okay.
But at any rate, so well-funded campaigns, likely the business community. Yeah.
Well, to what end, though? I mean, is it an altruistic end,
right,
or is it a quid pro quo? I mean, I've heard stories where the demolition contractors are lining up financing for new equipment, doing all this stuff, projecting that they're going to get all these deals that are going on. The black demo contractors right now, most of them, the majority of them, don't live in Detroit. They may have a business that's headquartered here, but they take those tax dollars home. And I'm trying to figure out, it's proposal in, it keeps saying our. Well, who's the we? I mean, because if it's our, there's got to be a we.
Well, I'll give you some context. So, I mean, again, it's dark money, so I don't have the answer. I just know sort of loosely where it's coming from. I highly doubt, and I could be very wrong, but I don't imagine that the demo contractors are throwing a bunch of money into this race simply because they're giving patterns to the mayor in the past. Unless all the donations were obscured, they haven't given that much money to the mayor. I tracked their giving when the bond issue was coming up for vote in council the first time around, and I tracked it through his turnaround, his leadership pack, his turnaround Detroit nonprofit, and some other and direct contributions, whatever way you could give to the mayor. And like, they weren't giving that much money. I think the most that was given was like 10, 15 grand from the biggest contractor. And we're talking about $500,000 campaigns.
So you're checking all the 527s.
Yeah.
And the PACs that don't have to report their donors, you checked all those.
Well, I don't know. I would have to pull up the story. I can't remember, but I tried to do a thorough job.
Here's the issue. There are many ways to give to a political candidate.
Right.
Trust me.
Right.
All right.
But are these okay, so outside of Adamo has a lot of money and continues to get a fair amount of work with the city. But outside of Adamo, I mean, a lot of these companies aren't that giant that the city's working with.
I'm not going to get into specifics because I really do hate legal entanglements.
Mm-hmm.
But people are bragging that they're going to make money off of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
But how much more money is there to be made? I mean, we've already spent like.
But you got a $250 million pot. Okay, you got a $250 million pot there. You're going to make something off that. Okay, yeah. I mean, it's not going to be huge change like the first round, but they're going to be able to make a lot of money off this, and they're banking on it. And especially if the bridge and this demo are the only real games in town, because all the residential construction, all those announcements, all those great things you hear, those are still not all done yet. They can all disappear. Mm-hmm. All right, if COVID ravages the economy much more.
Yeah.
All right, this demo is solid. The bridge is solid.
Mm-hmm.
Those are solid things. The capital improvements for the Great Lakes Water Authority, those are solid things. All right, but the other stuff isn't solid.
Right. Well, I guess my hesitancy is that perhaps some of it is coming from demo contractors, but I hesitate to think the bulk of it is coming from them when the business community just goes with the mayor's agenda so frequently, and they give money to things that may not even directly benefit them, right? So anyway, but what we know on paper from the giving patterns for Prop N is that it's very similar to the whole dark money nonprofit is very similar to the one that in 2016 fought against Duggan's fought against the real community benefits ordinance that was going to hurt development that Duggan really opposed. And so the whole game they ran was similar, the TV ads, everything. And these are incorporated by the same lawyer. Like and they're all using the same PO box that the regional chamber uses for its PAC. So, and it's similar to one of the dark money groups. There's actually 3 in the school board race, which is wild. But one of them follows the same, actually 2 of them overlap with this same pattern. Same lawyer, they're all using the same advertising agency for their TV. They all use the same PO box as the regional chamber, although the regional chamber says it's not getting involved.
Who is the advertising agency for the TV?
Oh, I want to say it's like an Emerald. Can I open my email? I think it's an Emerald or something like that. I want to say it was an Emerald T group or something on Prop N.
And where are they located?
I'm not sure, but the person dealing with it is Renee from Ikonomova. Renee, she's a government compliance officer.
Here's my issue. If it's about the neighborhoods, it's about Detroit.
It's not Detroit.
You should have a Mario Morrow. You should have an Adolph Mongo. Mm-hmm. You ain't gonna have a Steve Hood because they're just mad at me. But those guys maybe should have been at least buying the time. They should be spending the money with some black advertising agency, some Black Detroit advertising agency to make it look real. But they're not doing that. They're not even hiding it. And that's the problem. I would like to see my friends making money. I'm not going to make any money off this. All right. Don't want to make any money off it. But I think somebody African American, somebody that's a Detroiter, should have made a significant amount of loot off of that campaign. If they really wanted to be for real, I think an African American advertising agency should have made money off of that campaign. African American Detroit based advertising agency should have made money off that campaign.
Right. I mean, the bigger issue is like, why don't we, Emerald, oh, shit, nope. Emerald Media, LLC, 440 Burroughs, Detroit, a Dawn Crowley.
Dawn Crowley.
Yeah.
I can't speak against my very good friend, Dawn Crowley, but I can tell you she's not African American. She's one of the greatest people you can ever meet, all right? I mean, I
Does she live in Detroit, or is this just an office?
No, Dawn does not live in Detroit.
Yeah, 248 phone number.
Dawn is an amazing person. I can't really say anything bad about her. She's just great, great people. And I'm glad Dawn's making the money. But it should have been an African American. It should have been African American, Detroit living, Detroit.
I mean, more importantly, shouldn't the donors be disclosed on something like this? Why are we?
Hell yeah, the donors have to be disclosed.
Right.
The donors have to be disclosed.
Right. I mean, they tout having the most transparent demolition program in the country, but the way you're getting people to agree to fund this program is the least transparent possible.
It's wrong, Violet. It's wrong. If it were about the neighborhoods, you'd at least see one Detroiter funding it. You know, right. One. You know, even if they had gotten a donation from my main man Edgar Van, he lives in Detroit, from Second Ebenezer. If they had gotten him, any of these guys, any of these big preachers, one of them, okay? I mean, I'm talking about real preachers. I'm not talking about itty bitty churches on the east side run by little bitty preachers.
Yeah.
Not talking about Mr. Knox. Yeah. Anyway, Reverend.
Well, what do you think about the fact that these two proposals are like kind of being lumped together? Like, I was told that there was a fund, I couldn't print this in my story, but I was told that the fundraiser where all this happened, it was a joint. It's like, hey, give money to this or to this. And now, of course, I don't have that confirmed. And nobody answered my questions about that. But
well, there's no law against it, but it smells to high hell. Okay. There's no law against it. I mean, if I wanted to have a fundraiser and I had 3 different PACs, I mean, there's no rule saying you can't come to one Zoom meeting and say you
but
get.
So what does it say? What does it say about potential donors? If they don't even discriminate between causes, it's like, oh, okay, the mayor is telling us to do this. All right, cool.
They believe in Detroit.
Yeah.
They believe in Detroit, and well, they believe in Duggan's.
They believe in one agenda for Detroit.
Yeah, they believe in Duggan's agenda for Detroit, and that's not cool, and it does not bode well for next summer's city council elections, because right now I watched with great interest the state fair vote today. I watched who voted against it. This model that they're using for the school board campaigns is the same type of model they can use for those council races.
Right. I mean, and we talked with the state legislative slate that Duggan wanted to get in last time around. It was billboards, it was money direct to their campaigns from his leadership PAC, all of it funded by multinational corporations and like Republican tied folks. Like, we have to remember here, the regional chamber is run by a guy who worked for George W. Bush and a Republican senator out of Oregon. So when you think about the agendas here, sure, perhaps there's an aligning because Detroit is really in the midst of, like, Detroit, perhaps more than other cities, really depends on private dollars because it's city, like $300 million of our annual funding comes from private sources. And we have a $1 billion operating budget. Like, that's got to be the most of any city in the country. But it does make for strange bedfellows where you've got the Democratic mayor, like, in cahoots with the head of the regional chamber, right, who's a Republican,
to control our democratic school board.
Right.
And then
And to
there,
get people to sign off on a bond, potentially. I mean, the regional chamber says it's not, but the PO boxes are the same.
yeah.
And the dark money is there. So maybe somebody could come forward with who is behind the curtain in order to make us stop speculating. But you got to wonder, like, all of this is being done to levy a tax on Detroiters in the midst of a recession.
And
So
what's funny is they say there is no new tax, but
there is a tax.
there is a tax.
Yes.
That's what gets me. Can you explain that there is a tax?
Yes. Okay. So in 2021, so this is the retirement, the debt retirement portion of our tax bills. And so in 2021, we would have gone from 9 mils, which is the cap, the top that can be, down to 6 mils in the summer, next summer, because some debt would have retired.
Right.
And so what this does is it takes it back up to the top immediately. So your taxes stay the same, but you would see a reduction without it.
We would have had a reduction, but because of this, we don't have a reduction.
Exactly. If it passes, yeah.
Right. You say tomato, I say tomato.
Right.
Well, I don't know. As of yesterday at 6 p.m., 75,000 people had already voted in Detroit.
Right.
Okay. And I don't know. I don't think the proposal, I don't think the no on end had really ramped up in time to get at those people, but you don't know what's going to happen. There still should be another 150 to 200,000 people that vote in this election in Detroiters itself. So the majority of Detroit has not voted yet, but a significant number have.
Right. Well, the Free Press reported it as it's likely to pass because it's a neighborhood, because it's being sold as a neighborhood improvement project. But I mean, if you look at the ballot language, it does tell you your mills are going to go up. And so I guess I don't know how a city in the economic state that Detroit is in, why that's a likely to pass scenario. Because if you read the ballot language, it's telling me my taxes are going to go up, and I don't have a lot of money to pay more in taxes. So I just kind of wonder about that logic.
44% illiteracy rate. People aren't going to sit in that thing and read that proposal.
And
okay? and a lot of people that actually do read it are not going to understand the whole thing. I mean, it's the truth. We have a 44% literacy rate.
I don't know where that stat is accurate, but people have questioned that stat. But that stat gets said a lot. Okay, so maybe.
Okay. But if people read it, it goes down. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, if people read it and understand it, proposal in goes down in flames.
Right.
And all this advertising, all the pretty advertising that my good friend Don Crawley is doing, you know, she knows how to sell. She knows how to sell it. You know? And I think a lot of people are going to fall for it. Those billboards are engaging.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're engaging, you know, and a lot of people are happy. Randy Orm is very happy right now, I'm sure, with all those billboards. CBS Outdoor, Outfront Media is happy with all those billboards. Amazingly happy.
Money's going around.
Yes. But let's just switch gears for a second before we end this thing. What do you think this portends for next summer's city council races? Do you think we'll see the same type of room? Okay, you can support these candidates right here, make it real easy, write a big check to the
so I've wondered about this. And I mean, Duggan's going to be running for re-election too, and he didn't do this in 2017. And so while he has this super formidable political machine, I mean, maybe there is a lot, like maybe he recognizes that it looks sketchy as hell to meddle with the body that is supposed to be a check on you versus the school board, versus any ballot initiative, versus the state house. Once you start messing with city council, like, did Coleman Young ever do that? Like, did he ever run one of his district managers for?
He messed with people.
Yeah.
He messed with people.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago.
But there was speculation last time around that one of Sheffield's opponents was getting a boost from Duggan, or did Duggan endorse her or something like that?
It's Jewel Ware. I'm not sure what happened in that race with Jewel Ware.
Yeah.
Let's go on to one other thing. If Duggan doesn't run, his heir apparent has to run. His choice has to run in order to keep the business thing going. A lot of people think that's Sonia Mays.
Oh, no way. I've heard Conrad Mallett.
Well, yes, you've heard Conrad Mallett, but there are a whole bunch of people that think that heir apparent is actually Sonia Mays.
Okay.
All right. And so it's all play. It's a very big game right now.
Yeah.
Big
Maybe
game.
that's why Sonia has, no, her mailer is just as big as Iris's. Sorry. I was going to
Right.
say.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
she has the most elaborate mailer for that reason. Yeah.
But all right. Well, Violet, I want to thank you for joining us today. I hope people have learned something from this. You know, at least I hope they take away the fact that dark money is at play and it's dangerous, and that you should read these ballot proposals. You should read proposal N when you get in there or before you get in there. You see those billboards that says make a voting plan. Well, make it your plan to read proposal N. Okay?
Okay.
And where can they find Deadline Detroit?
At deadlinedetroit.com.
All right. Not in paper, but always on the internet.
Always online.
When you guys, I've got to get off, but when you get a chance, I'd really like to see you guys do a story on the effectiveness of DPSCD's curriculum this fall and their implementation of their curriculum with these children.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, each week I get a chance to juxtapose my Sunday school students that go to the suburban schools versus the Detroit schools. So, all right.
Okay,
I'd
great.
like you all to take a look at that. All right. Well, thank you very much. All right.
Bye-bye.
Have a great
Illusion.